Hey peeps, Mr. Habanero here. So I've got an interesting question for you. Have you ever watched an anime, say particularly an action or adventure or fantasy based anime, and you thought to yourself, oh, well, this is the stereotypical action anime or stereotypical adventure anime where it has your stereotypical action, adventure, or fantasy main character, and boy, do they sure follow all the same tropes. They've got all the pretty ladies surrounding them. Oh, look, they're also way overpowered all the time. Oh, they're just automatically good and everybody loves them? That's great. I'm so glad that I'm watching this totally unique anime where this character is totally not like every other single fantasy, adventure, and action anime out there. Surely not. Well, that's pretty common for us nowadays, isn't it? But then something amazing happens. You're watching it, you're saying to yourself, oh, it's just whatever, I don't care. And then all of a sudden, out walks this amazing, super cool, really dark and edgy, but somehow interesting and slightly charismatic villain character. And he's just chaotically evil, and he just wants the world to burn, and he starts really just bearing down on the main characters, and it's not even just your stereotypical, oh, he's just a maniac, oh, he's just evil for the sake of being evil. No, we're talking about an incredibly deep villain. And you're so tired of seeing your stereotypical fantasy, isekai, adventure, action, anime main character, and he's so boring all the time that you find yourself rooting for the villain. You find yourself more interested in seeing the villains succeed rather than failing. You start saying, yeah, burn that town down. That's awesome. Just go ahead and kill that character. That would be great. Oh man, I sure hope he takes that lady, bondages her up, and then starts doing whatever it is that those kind of anime villains are going to do. Please don't get me in trouble for what he may possibly be doing. But anyways, you start really rooting for the villain characters, and you start realizing, wow, that villain was definitely a lot more interesting and entertaining than the main character and all of the strangely beautiful women that he keeps finding himself interacting with, and all the goody little two-shoe characters, they're definitely not as interesting as that villain. Well, that's something that I kind of wanted to discuss today. It's that I'm so tired of seeing every stereotypical isekai anime that, or action or adventure or fantasy or whatever have you, where the villains are just boring and you can't really care for them, and the main characters are just always your stereotypical run-of-the-mill boring main characters. But every once in a while, when you get the lucky chance, the ever so wonderful lottery winning villain, that you just start rooting for him. Well, that's kind of what I want to see more. Let me kind of explain where I'm coming from in this. I recently watched a anime for the first time, just a little while ago, called Saga of Tanya the Evil. And man, that blew me away. I was really impressed. I found myself being very deeply invested in how terrible of a person that this Tanya the Evil was. However, they constantly were able to make her a very interesting character who had depth and reasoning and had justifications in her own sensibilities. Not saying that what she did was justified. No. That's not. I'm not here to try and propagate the idea that war is good and any of the evil atrocities that she had committed during said wars were at all appropriate in even the slightest way. No. However, it was very fun to keep along with her and learn why she was doing what she did. And it made her fascinating. In fact, it made you root for her. And it even started taking me back to thinking about, well, Light Yagami from Death Note. And I started comparing the two. As I kept watching and going deeper into the show, I started comparing the two and finding the interesting differences as well as similarities between the two characters. And I thought to myself, why aren't there more of these? And I started kind of reflecting on the various different animes that I had seen over the time. Like, I had watched Overlord, which I thought was very fascinating, which kind of had this premise of, oh, he was a villainous character, but he's still trying to do what's right for the people around him. Which, okay, sure. You know, they were able to kind of, you know, take the things that he was doing and saying and justify them to a degree and show, oh, look at all the good things he's doing in order to propagate these different, you know, societies that work under him and making the people who, you know, work for him more comfortable and happy. But it's coming from a villainous side, and yeah, I see that, and I get that, but that wasn't the main focus here, and I've seen a couple of others do that as well. I've seen, you know, a few different animes where they take your, ooh, he's a villain, and then they're like, oh, but look at all these amazing things that they're doing, and it's like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, I want to see some Light Yagami and Tanya action. You know what I'm saying here, guys? You know what I'm saying? I want to see some action where no matter what you do or what you say, these characters are downright despicable. They're murdering people. They're committing atrocities of wartime. They're very cruel and unreasonable, and they're deception, like they deceive people. They're doing just really bad things, but you can't help but love them and enjoy them and understand that, wow, these characters are deep, and even your most evil people in the world, you know, let's think about, like, you know, if you were to look at it from a reality perspective, you know, a realistic perspective, you could easily say that every villain has their own human nature and justification for why they do things. And there's a classic trope to be said that every villain always believes that they are doing the right thing. You have the case with Light Yagami, who believes that he's doing the right thing by murdering tons and tons of, you know, evil people for the purpose of creating a better, safer world for those who aren't evil. And then you have the view of Tanya from Saga of Tanya the Evil, who is justifying everything that she does based on the idea of, oh, if I can cause all this destruction by ending the war as soon as possible, then the country that I am living in will be safer and we can end the war and people will be happier. And that's her justification for everything she's doing. That's what I want to see. We need more of these, you guys. Does anybody else agree with me that we need more anime where it's just a villain being evil, but also, like I said, justifying all their evil actions? Like I said, not like Overlord. No, not like Overlord. Overlord the Overlord's a good guy. We can all agree on that, right? Like, I don't recall him mass murdering armies. Maybe I need to give that show a rewatch, but I don't recall that was something he did. I think that it was more of a good guy perspective, but he's specifically feeding the monstrous side, or I don't know, it just seemed like it wasn't quite what I'm talking about. But when I saw Tanya the Evil, that definitely got me thinking pretty heavily about what I'm talking about here. We need more animes where we get to see everything from a totally bad to the bone character. I want to know the despicable side of these characters. I want to know why they justify what they're doing, even though they're doing these unspeakable acts of evil and terrible atrocities in human nature and such. You know, I want to see more of that, and I want them to be interesting. And when I see things like these animes that are fantasy and action and adventure and isekai, whatever have you, within that general area, I do find myself sitting back sometimes. In fact, I watched one just a while ago where I was like, oh my god, I hope that the villain just kills them all. I just want these characters to be put out of their misery. I want this villain to just absolutely destroy everything, and I want to see him get to the very top and just rule over everything, just for the sake of saying that it has in fact happened in one of these animes. That's what I want to see. And I know that sometimes it's kind of hard for these animes to get that way. For example, if I remember correctly, Death Note was written under, I believe, a ghostwriter name, because I believe that the original intention was that the original manga or story was supposed to be a commentary on society or something, and the original writer was afraid of how people would accept that societal commentary. Therefore, he was too afraid to put his actual name out there. I don't know if it's come out since then, or maybe I'm just misremembering that information. It's totally possible. Let me know down in the comments if I am misremembering that information. However, I think that I think that we should be allowed to see more animes in that sense, where we can watch a character be totally evil to the bone and have a really good and intriguing story. Now, I'm not talking about pushing the boundaries of really bad stuff. I have heard, I haven't seen it and I haven't read it. I have heard the talk about redo of a healer. No, thank you. I've heard enough about it that I'm not interested in it. I'm sorry, that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about sexually predatorial things like that. No. I want to see murder and mayhem and destruction and wartime and true evil within a villain, and I want to see more anime and more manga centered around that concept. That would be a beautiful thing, and that's what I want to see. So, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and say that you guys should check out Tanya the Evil, Saga of Tanya the Evil. That is fantastic. I got a real big kick out of it. I definitely knew that after I watched it, I wanted to make a video just like this, which is why I'm here sitting in front of you guys talking about it. And also, I had watched a bunch of other animes since then, and watching those animes that had kind of, the villains that were, oh, I want to see this villain succeed, even though that's never going to be the case because of the kind of anime it is. It definitely kept making me think about Tanya the Evil, and that's why I wanted to do this video, and I highly recommend that you guys go and check it out as well. So I think that's just all I'm going to say about this particular subject. Maybe I'll do more videos like this in the future, who knows? But I am going to say all the wonderful things that I always say, which is, guys, go ahead and if you liked the video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up if you liked it. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Go ahead and hit that notification bell so that you guys can know when I'm going to be doing things. Please leave a comment below letting me know, what do you guys think about animes that are about evil characters? Or let me know if there's ever an anime where you actually rooted for the villain, even though the villain was a total scumbag, but it was interesting nonetheless. Let me know that information down in the comments below. I would really appreciate it. Go ahead and check in the description below for all of my wonderful links. There's multiple different donation links, which I greatly appreciate if you use them. All money goes to the channel. I also have a wonderful Patreon where I release early content as well as uncensored content. Ooh, naughty naughty. And you can join my wonderful Patreon members such as ya boy Lettuce, Bo Falcon, Fajouk Enterprises, James P, Rebecca, and Ashed. So thank you to my wonderful Patreon members, and I think that's all I'm going to say, with the last thing, of course, being follow your dreams, guys, all right? I'll see you later. Goodbye! Thank you for being here.